Morning all, and welcome back. And so we've got some stuff going on today. We have an award show going on this evening, or this afternoon, or tonight, in the morning, depending on where you are in the globe. 6:30 p.m. Eastern is the award show, and they're going to give out the big awards. And yeah, I'm wearing Ottawa again. So Adidas has been having a nice clearance sale on Ottawa gear. They're having a clearance on Buffalo gear as well. I already got the Buffalo ones, but I thought, yeah, why not? We didn't have a St. Patrick's Day this year, so why not have multiple St. Patrick's Days? Because we didn't really have one this year. But yeah, so the awards are tonight, and they're going to give out the big awards. We're going to see who wins the Calder, the Hart, the Ted Lindsay, and then afterwards I'll do a video for all you fine people, and we can all debate about how wrong everybody was on who won the awards. And it's interesting that that's one of the criteria that we use for Hall of Fame consideration, considering at the time those awards are announced, almost never is there a consensus on who should have won that award. And there's always discussions on who got hosed and, well, if he didn't play where he plays, he'd get more votes, that kind of thing. So can't wait for that discussion tonight, and that'll be posted before the game today. The game starts at 8 o'clock Eastern, so the award show's only half an hour, which is about right. Honestly, the NHL award show shouldn't be as long as it is. It is too long. So today it won't be that long because you're not going to have people in attendance. They can't sell a bunch of advertising, so yeah, just brush it through. Tonight's game 2, Dallas, of course, up 1-0, and this is the big game. If Dallas wants to win the Stanley Cup, if they want to prove, hey, we're not just, underdogs that are going to go away after winning a game, they really need to win tonight. For Tampa, well, it's possible they win the series if they lose tonight, because Tampa's shown that they can turn a series around and they can dominate when they really get themselves in gear. But it does feel like a must-win for both. And I do mean for both. If Dallas allows Tampa to play their game tonight and Tampa Bay wins by a score of, say, 4-1, and that's with an empty netter, then the narrative changes quickly to, well, it looks like Tampa's going to win this series, and it was nice of Dallas to come out and win that first game. If Tampa plays this game tonight the way they played the third period of Game 3, they're going to win it. And I know people say, well, there weren't that many high-danger chances. Right, and how many did Dallas get in that final period? None. So... and again, the other issue I take with that is, and at some point, I'll do a video on that, is goals that are scored that are not from high danger chances. Those ones are just kind of flung at the net and they deflect off a couple of guys and whoops, it's in the net. So allowing 22 shots in a period should not be the plan. That should not be something you look at after the game and say, it's fine. And yet, here we are. We're in an age now where it's not a big deal because they were almost all from the outside. Eventually a puck trickles in. It's the way that works. And then once it does, all of a sudden the whole game shifts. So we'll see which team shows up for Dallas tonight. The one that dominated the second period in that game, or the one that was in their own zone a lot in that third period. So for Tampa, this is kind of sort of it. And of course, Steven Stamkos is now the big question mark because we're talking about how he's inching closer. He's getting close. I don't buy it. We'll see. Until I see him actually playing a game, I don't buy it. I think this is just Tampa's way of saying, okay, well, we're not going to tell you he's not going to play. So we're just going to keep dangling it out there so you have to plan just in case he does. So I think it's a plan more to keep the other team off their guard than actually Stamkos being in the lineup. And I'll believe it when I see it. So yeah, it's the battle between Vasilevsky and Hudobin. And we'll see who ends up winning that battle tonight. Now on to the news of the day. Hjalmarsson apparently does not want to be traded. And he has a no-trade clause, so he doesn't have to be traded. And this is the thing with giving out no-trade clauses. The players that have them have a right to say, no, I'm not going anywhere. And Hjalmarsson isn't going anywhere. So that's a $5 million price tag that Arizona's going to stay on the hook for. And it again, you have to look at the guy that signs that contract and say, man, you really hose that GM later on. But Arizona's going to have to move some money. They just have to. Especially if the plan is to keep Taylor Hall. They're going to have to move at least 2 big name contracts. And I mean big name as in they've got the big money attached to it. So they better be a big name. And they're going to have to move at least 2 if they want to keep Hall. And they want to have a full roster together. Part of what I laugh at is when people say, well, this team has $8 million in cap space, so they have the money to sign this guy. And I'm saying, yeah, but that $8 million in cap space doesn't include that they have to replace 3 or 4 other players as well as signing that one guy. So considering the salary cap, your lowest salary is around $750,000, $725,000. So that's, about $3 million for 4 players. So yeah, they don't really have 8. And again, we'll get into that more as we get towards October 9th and we start to look at where the big name free agents could actually sign, which places actually make the most sense if they're not willing to take a pay cut or below market value, that kind of thing. Askarov, the number 1 drafted goalie on October 6th, he will definitely be drafted. He's letting teams know he's ready. In the KHL, he's player of the week, rookie of the week, 3 games played, a goals against average of 0.74 and a .974 save percentage. Now, people will mention, and rightfully so, he plays for SKA St. Petersburg, which is a juggernaut. And once the NHL is shunted aside for a while, I will definitely be doing videos on what's going on in the KHL, what's going on in Europe and other leagues, because there's going to be a lot of players there. I'm going to come back and talk about that in a second. But yeah, Askarov, KHL Player of the Week, and he's had an excellent start to the season. So he will go in the first round. Most picks, most mock drafts, mine included, have him going 13th to Carolina, which means it probably won't happen. Somebody else will probably end up taking him. But we'll see. So, Ottawa news, and the reason I'm wearing the Ottawa jersey, they're not expected to name a captain next year. When Coach Smith was asked about it, yeah, the plan is to have 3 alternates and no captain. So they're, I guess, grooming the next captain. I don't know whether that means maybe Brady Tkachuk's going to be that captain. Maybe it's going to be Shabbat. Maybe they envision Colin White as being that eventual captain. I'm not sure. But there won't be a captain named this season. Or they're looking at Vegas and going, hey, they got into the finals and the conference championship, conference finals, without needing a captain. So maybe that's the answer. I will say sometimes the captain's role with the team is, I think, overstated. The captain's importance, I think, sometimes is overstated. There are exceptions. Taves and Crosby come to mind as 2 guys that definitely captained the ship in both of those cases. But yeah, so no captain expected for Ottawa this year. And I'm going to say this here as well. There were a lot of players being loaned to European leagues. I don't cover it in News of the Day, and because there's just so many. And yet, here's the newsworthy part of it. So you're, say, Tyler Benson. You just got loaned out to, I think it's the Swiss league he went to. Again, I'll have lots of time to cover all these leagues once the NHL season is done and go over what's going on there and who's scoring what and how and when. But with Benson, let's say he goes over there and plays for 2 months, 3 months. So he plays September, October, November, could be 4 months, right? And then the NHL says, all right, we're coming back in January. How many games will Benson have played and then he comes back over to play in the NHL? Or any of these players potentially come back over to play in the NHL in, say, December or January. These guys are going to have played a lot of hockey. So a lot of these guys getting loaned out right now, I would expect some interesting names in and amongst the bunch. And then there's the other issue with that. Players getting hurt. There will be players who go over to Europe to play, and they're going to get hurt. Because it's still hockey, so they're still going to end up getting hurt. And the other interesting part, too, is going to be players who have a hard time with the European ice surface. We see European players come over, and they struggle with the small ice. Their game doesn't translate. There will be players who get loaned to European teams who don't look good out there because they can't adjust to the larger ice surface. So there'll be a lot of interesting storylines after, but I'm not covering which players are getting sent to which leagues because it's a lot of players. It's a ton. And I threw that on the board today because there's at least half a dozen that I saw today. And I was like, okay, so that's... Got to mention it in the news of the day just to say why I'm not talking about it. Other than like this, where I'm saying, yeah, lots of guys are going to Europe. And it's a lot of young kids. I wanted to close this off with happy 25th birthday to a building of all things. The city of Vancouver, happy 25th to Rogers Arena. And it's hard to believe that it's been 25 years since Rogers Arena went up. I remember before Rogers Arena came into existence, the concern that Pacific Coliseum was not good enough and that the Canucks could move to Seattle. I remember those rumors. I remember all that discussion about whether or not hockey was actually going to work in Vancouver in the late 90s with a Canadian dollar that was struggling and a team that wasn't very good. Attendance wasn't the best, and then you add in the fact that the building wasn't very good either. And yeah, so I'm glad that they did get all that straightened out and that we do have Rogers Arena. And yeah, so happy 25th to that building and to the people that work there. I was there just a couple days ago. We had to drop off the pictures they accidentally sent us that were duplicates of what was already sent to me, or one of them was a duplicate. But anyways, another video for another time after we've remade the set behind me, which is coming soon. But because I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with those pennants, and then I've got a Toronto Maple Leafs pennant of that same nature coming as well, which is just like all the Maple Leafs through history, except it doesn't show the one from the 70s, 80s, 90s up until recently. It's weird that that's the one that they omit, but you know, I guess I can understand. I'd buy it, but if it wasn't for that one. So yeah, the plan is to move those in some way and have the pictures that I got on auction, and then have other stuff moved as well. So things are going to change. I'm not sure on exactly when, but it'll be after the Stanley Cup's awarded. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. I will talk to you again soon.